Hello everyone, we are here with the Porsche today, so I can give you all a better walk around and initial plans for the car. So let's take a look at it. Alright, since y'all saw it last, I have done a couple of things to it. I had to get a new tire for this front because it was not holding air, and that rim actually is supposed to go on the back because I have learned that this with this being a turbo model, is supposed to have 16x7 wheels on the front and 16x8 on the back. And one of the extra wheels I had was a 16x7, and there was kind of a mix match 16, 7, and 8 on the front, and thankfully the one that was going flat was the 16.8. So put the correct size rim on the front, and now I need to find one more for the back because the back actually has 15s, and I do actually have a full set of 15s that I'm going to be putting up for sale once I find that other wheel I need, because 15s will not fit the front of this car with it having the bigger brakes on the front. Another thing, this nose panel, I have discovered that there's a difference between the naturally aspirated vehicles and the turbo vehicles, and sadly this nose piece is for a naturally aspirated and doesn't quite fit. And I have seen some that have vents in the front. I may get one of those. I may get a steel one, just whatever I can get my hands on first, really. But let me see. Oh yeah, I did adjust the hood a little bit because the body lines right here were a little bit off. Hood probably still needs a little bit of tweaking. Fenders probably need a little bit of tweaking. But body wise, it's really straight. There is one little hit right here in the corner. I may try to mess with that. And I think there's one more little dimple in the quarter panel. Let's see if you can get the sun on it. Yeah, one more little dimple right about there. I should be able to knock that out if I get the wheel well out, or if I can reach it inside the inside here. I may try to see if I can push that out. But let's take a look at the inside. Now, one thing I have done is I was going to get it running first, but then I kind of got lost in taking out all the excess wiring. I have pulled out the radio. I pulled out the radio because it was aftermarket anyway, and it was old. It was actually a tape deck. And while doing that, I kind of got carried away and just took that entire radio system out. And this car had about 10 miles of wire for this radio system, which and the way they had some of it hooked up was alarming, to say the least. Speaking of alarm, this car, having a factory alarm system, had a second alarm system installed. The one they installed had keyless entry, remote start, and motion sensor. It's a real comprehensive alarm system, but with this having a factory alarm system and me not keeping this car, I want it. The only thing electrically, the only thing that will not be Porsche on this car is going to be a modern Bluetooth radio, and it's going to be routed through the original speakers. Replaced, obviously, but it's going to be in the original speaker locations. But these struts are bad, so having to use vice grips. And this is the original space saver spare, and this one was inflated for a little while, so it's not as compressed as it needs to be for the carpet to fit. So it carpet just kind of sits there. And sadly, I'm gonna have to get a new carpet for back here because the morons cut through the carpet, cut through both layers of carpet to put some speakers back here. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. The speakers are back here below the below that window and in the doors. So going to be replacing those. Another thing I have on the way already is a new lock for this, because this lock is busted. And the interior I have just cleaned out and got all the trash out. And I've had this door panel off, I think 3 or 4 times already. Through various research, I have found that this car originally did not come with any kind of power locks. It was just a manual lock. And I'm going to sit in it. God, I love these doors. And the console, I do have the piece to lock this leather in, and I will be putting that on, just not right now. And in various research and testing that I've done, I took this down to test it because it was not working. The light was not coming on. Ended up being an issue out at the fuse box. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the wiring is good on this. The plastic is just busted. I need to get another one. I found these online really cheap, so that's not really too much of an issue. Okay, get back out. Oh yeah. And the buttons down here, this is for the sunroof. This is for the rear wiper that is not working. I think the motor's locked up. And this is for the power mirror, driver or passenger, to adjust it, because it does actually have a motor. Let's get the hood popped and show you what I've done up there. It's not much, but let me show you what I've done out there. All right, out here in the engine compartment, I haven't really touched too much. I've done more inspecting. But one thing I have done while I was taking out the extra wiring, the extra alarm system, all the extra wiring, the alarm horn that was here and the alarm horn that was here, it has been removed, because the factory alarm system uses this horn here, and I have tested it and it does seem to work. So that is very good. And while I was underneath, I can't really see it, but I'll splice in some pictures. The radiator mounting, the left side is gone, and the passenger side is bent up really bad. Now, I have looked online and eBay and everything, and I found some replacements. They are on the way. I will have to tack weld those in place when I get those, but they're off. It's basically I'm basically getting the nose. See, from the frame, what I'm basically getting is like from here to the frame this way. It's basically the nose of the car. So I'll be able to drill out the spot welds and replace those pieces, put them back on, and it is running. So let me fire it up for you. And I have looked through this inspection hole, and from the area of belts that I have seen from various cranking over looking at it, the belt looks okay. I will be replacing that timing belt and balance shaft belt, but for now it'll be okay for testing. Obviously will not be doing any road racing with it or anything, so until I can get that replaced, it'll be okay. It's not a daily driver anyway, so it'll be fine. So got the battery connected, so let's fire it up. You can see the dome light is working, and close the door, it goes off. I need to take those things off, the door switches off, and clean them a little bit, because the contacts are a little dirty. but they are working. I'm going to splice in a video I took when this thing first sputtered and fired. I was really excited, I'm still really excited that this thing is running, and I think it sounds okay. Here's that first fire, and then we're gonna go into firing it up here for you. Okay, here we go. Okay, now my oil pressure gauge, I think that's the pressure gauge, pegs out as soon as the key's on, so I think the sender's bad. Unless, I don't know. It's actually firing it up. It's actually firing up faster and faster. It does die because I think I have some leaks. And that sound is the electric water pump that they had on the turbo models. It is really expensive to replace, so I'm kind of hoping once coolant gets in here that it'll quiet down. Kind of sits at just over 2,000. Maybe because it's cold, I don't know. Then it drops down and sputters. I can raise it back up. And I can't leave this running too long because obviously the radiator's not in it. But stuff is working. Let me turn the key back on. There you go. The air conditioning fans is working. My hazard lights are working. The cigarette lighter's working. It pops out. Let me show you. Cigarette lighter's working. Doesn't take too long either. And there we go, and that is hot. It's not glowing or anything, but it is definitely hot. But yeah, my current plans for this car is to get it driving. I need to replace the clutch master cylinder, but I will be replacing the clutch master and slave cylinder at the same time, because they've both had the same amount of miles on them, and there's no sense in replacing one when the system relies on two of them. So it's going to be replaced. Both of them are going to be replaced. I'm going to have to get a pressure bleeder that screws onto the reservoir cap so I can bleed this thing a little bit easier. Because from what I've researched, the bleeding procedure on this is kind of a major pain if you don't have one of those pressure bleeders. So I will be picking up one of those eventually. Whenever I'm gathering my parts to replace the clutch master and slave cylinder, I will be doing that. But I think that about sums it up. Oh yeah, the sunroof. Let me get back here. The sunroof, where that cloth is hanging down and that cloth is hanging down. I am missing some a cover, and the gears are plastic and just brittle and just not good anymore. I will be getting a brass gear replacement that they do make, which is really nice. So and thankfully they're not that expensive. So I need to get those, and then the cover I'm missing and other stuff. So it's definitely a project, but it's running. It sounds good, and no matter what I decide to do, how long I decide to keep this car, I'm kind of stuck with it until about mid-February, because when I was doing the title and everything, they said it would take about 10 weeks. So I'm kind of stuck with it until about mid-February anyway. So mid-February, no matter where I'm, who knows, wherever I'm at with the car, maybe it's rolling, maybe I'm actually moving it around, maybe I've driven it around the block, I don't know. I'll see where I'm at in February, and whether or not I want to keep this car at least through spring, I don't know. So I think that's going to be it. There's a decent overview of the car. It's not a perfect example of a Porsche 944, but it is a really decent car. My neighbor across the street has that's done all my polishing work, has already offered to polish the paint, and I told him when I am ready, he will definitely have a crack at it. So I think I'm gonna leave it at there. Just gonna be getting various trim pieces, lights and stuff, making sure everything's working. The wipers currently are not working. I still got to figure that out, but everything's looking good. It's all good. The battery that came with it actually held a charge, so I was actually able to test stuff without having to buy a battery, which is really nice. Probably need to pull it out and put it back on charge because the alternator is currently disconnected. I think when the radiator mounts were damaged, whoever had the car had to have run into something. Maybe it was a low curb or rock or something sticking up. Honestly don't know. Maybe they hit something going down the road, and the alternator turnbuckle, this car actually uses turnbuckles to adjust the alternator and power steering belts and all that, and it bent the turnbuckle end, and I don't know if the alternator through bolt broke whenever this hit happened, but the alternator pivot bolt is broken, so I will need to try to get that off. Hopefully it comes out easy. Hopefully I don't have too much hassle with it. But it is definitely a project, but it is a really cool car, and I will be going back to stock with this thing. I'm not going to be doing any modifications aside from the radio and maybe the muffler. As longtime viewers of my channel know that everything I have has a Jones muffler, and this Porsche will be no exception. So when I do get this thing going, I will be on this search for a Jones muffler that I want to use on this thing. Whichever one fits the shape is really the one I'm going to be fitting. I've honestly thought about a full bore performance. I think that would fit, the same one that I've got on my truck, the Dart, the Charger, everything. So who knows, this thing may get a full bore performance muffler on it. But there it is. There's the Porsche, and I'm definitely happy with it. I still need to finish installing the fuel pump because it's just kind of hooked up back there. I don't have the shielding and stuff around it because it was kind of hard to get to it with it being as low to the ground as it is. But it's all good. There's the car. And if you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.